Hello. This is the worst Fire Emblem chapter I've ever played. If this is the first video of mine you've tuned into, allow me to explain myself. So, this map has a bunch of features that, to a normal person playing a normal run of this game, wouldn't be that much of a hassle. It's kind of annoying, yeah, sure, but it wouldn't matter that much. There's workarounds. But for me in particular, there are a few factors to this map that made it oh so difficult. If you've watched this series at all so far, you'll know that I said previously that Chapter 14X has been my least favourite map to play so far. Not 14X, I am talking about the guide. But that chapter was still somewhat easy. It was just really, really annoying. It just had really, really annoying features, and I thought it was a badly designed map. This map, oh god, this map. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit, because there's definitely quite a few things going on that make this map bad. So first of all, long-range tomes, siege tomes. You saw one just there. That sage spawns in a cage that you can't access unless you have a longbow. He has a bolting, and his range is basically right up until where Lance is right now. So if you go any further than that, you're getting bolting. Which means that basically from the word go, you're getting pelted with long-range tomes. In addition, there are 2 purge bishops at the very top right and top left of the map, and there are 2 more bolting mages right there in the top middle. In addition, this sage has a silent staff, meaning that your mages are going to be silenced. He doesn't have the best chance of hitting. It's about 55% on my Lilina, but that's still better than half the time. Luckily there's only one of him, but if you so happen to have the purge bishops move before turn 20, then another purge bishop will take their place on certain turns, and these guys, did I say purge bishop? I meant regular bishop. They come with the silence as well, so it's in your best interest to not have those guys move to heal someone until turn 20 or so. In addition to this, on top of all that, there's 2 more gimmicks to this map. So you've probably seen it already so far. These beams of light shoot down from the top of the map, and they do 10 damage if they hit you. They penetrate. So if you've got all your units in a line and one of those arrows goes down that line, every single one of your units will take damage. In addition, they can kill. In case you need proof of that, yeah, so I learned the hard way that those things can kill. They're not actually critting, that's just the noise it makes when they kill you. It does that for enemies as well. Speaking of, they can also hit enemies. In some cases that's more annoying than it is good, because it can cause some of them to retreat. It also means if they die, then you lose the experience. And it can cause some of the bishops to move and heal, disrupting their order and making their placement kind of annoying. So these things are all around just really, really annoying. Luckily there are certain tiles where they don't go, but unfortunately the 2 main choke points that I'll be using for the rest of this map are hot zones, so they can go through all the units that'll be choke pointed where I'm about to set up. So that first part of the map that's already passed now that was sped up, that was just me burning this first guy's bolting tome and the silent staff. That silent staff guy needs to go because Lilina is currently my only healer deployed, and I'm going to need all the goddamn healing I can get, so I need to get rid of that staff early. In addition, getting rid of the bolting guy is just nice, and I can because these guys don't move until turn 26. So after I burn those staves and tomes, I have to sit pretty for like 10 or so turns until these guys finally start to move down. I imagine in a normal playthrough, these guys are supposed to be a hey, hurry up and kill the boss kind of thing. But for me, I haven't even left spawn, basically. So it is kind of impossible for me to move at this point. And this is where we're going to be for the rest of the map. Now I could speed up this part up by a whole bunch, but I want you to suffer as much as I did, because I had to replay this map, I think about 5 times, and each time it was towards the very end that someone died and I had to restart. I haven't felt this mad at a map since about chapter 4. And it's been a long time since chapter 4, and my units were a lot worse in chapter 4. So yeah, this map is god awful. The reason this map in particular is so bad for me is because I can't bring Saul. Due to the way my deployment list is ordered, Saul is the last unit of mine to get deployed. And therefore, because I only had 10 deployment slots this map, I think it was 10. It was a small amount. Either way, I couldn't deploy Sue or Saul. Now Lilina can heal. She can definitely heal, and I would not have been able to complete this map without her. But something she doesn't have that Saul does is at least C rank in staves. I think Saul has higher than that, but Lilina has only D rank in staves, meaning that she can't really use anything except the heal and mend. Now if she had a restore staff, then this map would have been a joke. I would have been able to just walk up, use my high res units to tank the long range tomes and just continue moving towards the boss. If someone got berserked, I could have just used the restore staff. It would have been easy peasy. Unfortunately, I did not have that option available to me, and so this map became instantly 10 times harder, because basically the entire map is in the berserk staff range. You can sort of get around the edges of it at the initial part of the map, but sooner or later you're going to have to walk into its range to get to the boss, and at that point it's kind of GG. Like, you just can't do anything about it. I have attempted to wear it out before. It has 100% hit on Lance. Lance has, I think, 9 res, so I'm not liking my chances of it not hitting for anybody really. I think maybe it would have less than 100% on Lilina, but I have no access to a barrier staff because again Lilina can't use it, and I don't have any pure water. Not that that would have helped too much anyway, I'd imagine, because the guy's magic is huge. The boss's magic is huge, that is. So yeah, this map just has a bunch of features that make it incredibly annoying. I had to come up with a strategy to get around the fact that I just can't progress, and this is eventually what I came to. So these two stairways are perfect choke points, and much like every other map in the game so far, I'm going to have Marcus and Lance carry me. They're going to block the choke points, and every turn Lilina is going to heal the one that needs to be healed the most, then rescue dropped with Milady and Rutger. Now, even with this strategy, there's a huge chance of failure. Lilina would not have died there, but if she gets hit 3 times by any bolting tomes or any purge tomes from this point onwards, she's dead. So she needs to dodge a lot of them. She does have an elixir on her, but once that's used, she's basically on her own, because no one else is here to heal her, and I don't have any other personal healing items. So I have to hold on to that elixir for as long as possible. She can live 2 more long range tomes as of right now, but after that I'll have to pop one, and from there she's on her own, as I already said. So every unit on the map starts to move up. There are no stationary units at this point except for the boss, meaning that we will have to kill every single unit on the map in order to progress to the very end. This is really difficult. There's a bunch of strong ones, there's a few promoted units, there's a promoted sniper for each side, a promoted paladin for each side, there's the bishops who also have lightning tomes. I think it's divine tomes actually, even better. And there's a sage, the guy who had silence, but once that runs out he also has an air caliber, I believe it is. And either way, it's just an incredibly scary situation. These 2 armor knights moving down from the very top, one of them has a horse slayer, which was really hard to deal with for my horses obviously, and another one has a silver lance, meaning that he can hit really hard. And a bunch of these enemies have 2-range options. There's a bunch of mages, a bunch of archers, and most of the cavalry have javelins. I don't think the paladins have 2-range, because I didn't get attacked at 2-range by them. But the rest of them do, so it's really hard to deal with all of that. Luckily, because of the 1-tile-wide choke point, it's possible to get the 2-range units to attack at 1 range. If just one enemy attacks at 2 range, they effectively stop any other enemy from attacking at 2 range. And that allows me to get some more kills where I otherwise would have had to wait extra turns. So I'll speak about my formation a little bit here. You can see I've got Ward, Garret, and then my 2 generals, Bors and Douglas, who you'll remember from the last map we had to keep them alive. We've got them sitting in positions where they can be targeted by the purge and bolting tomes. I don't know what the priority on these tomes is. I think that the bishops will heal rather than attack, but I'd imagine that they will attack if they can kill. I also don't know what the priority is because sometimes it seems like they switch targets for no good reason. I think they may have some sort of ability to tell who the weakest of your units are, HP wise, and they go for them that turn, because sometimes their choices just don't make much sense. I think the best targets for them to hit at almost all times would be Garret, Bors, Douglas, and Ward, because they have next to no res. But sometimes they don't go for any of those guys. Really, really strange, and that made it really hard to play around. It's basically an additional chance factor. There's just no way for me to know exactly who they're going to go for, and you can see right here, they basically cover the entire playfield right now with their long-range tomes, and because they move, that is actual cover, not just, oh, that's where they could potentially go. You know, if you got a stationary bolting tome person, the range is misleading because they can't actually hit you as far as it says they can, but these guys do move, meaning that the range you just saw is the range they have, and that means that there's like a very small cross in the middle of the map underneath Wolt, where you are completely safe, but everywhere else is pretty much a dead man zone. And so there are a lot of cases where I have to rely on dodges. The reason I have the 2 axe fighters and the 2 generals sitting out in the open is because I want the mages to go for them. They can all take at least 1 hit. I think Garret can take 2, and I think Douglas can take 2 in certain scenarios. But every hit that they take, or even that they dodge potentially, is 1 less long-range tome, and I have to get rid of them. There's no other way. I really need them to not be targeting Lance or Marcus, because they're taking enough damage as it is. You see here, for some reason these guys tend to go for Lilina, the purge bishops that is. I don't know why. Their damage isn't that high. It's like, I want to say 7-ish. Wouldn't even be enough to 2-hit KO, when you've easily got, as I said, the fighters and the generals down there that would take way more damage, that are in range, but they just aren't aimed at for some reason. That time Douglas was aimed at. Speaking of Douglas, I guess I can talk about him a little bit. There's not much point because he will die this map, spoiler alert. The only reason we kept him alive last map is because his being alive unlocks this map. Once this map is unlocked, I will get the Aureola tome at the end of it anyway, so his life doesn't matter. I will use him as cannon fodder. But if you want to compare him to Bors, who recently promoted, he promoted last chapter, Douglas has 3 more points of strength and 2 less points of defense, in addition to like 7 more points of HP, I think. He might be a little bit faster and he has a bit more res too, but not by too much. And basically the gist of it is Bors is worse. Bors is basically worse. The 2 points of defense really don't mean much. There's not much that's going to save you just by you being 2 points of defense higher, especially when your HP is so much lower. I would say Douglas has better bulk overall because his HP is much higher. Bors has yet to breach 40 HP, which at this point is, I think, like the lowest in my entire group, maybe save for Saul and Lilina, which is really pathetic. If you look at a unit like Lance or Marcus, Lance has over 50, Marcus is close to 50. There's no way around it. Bors is a bad unit, and this pre-promoted general is basically better than him. Brilliant level up from Lilina right there. HP, gotta love it. As I'm talking about HP, I guess it's fitting. So yeah, it's really quite disappointing that this knight turned general that we've been raising since literally chapter 1 is basically inferior to this general that we've gotten here at the end of the game. Of course, getting him late is a factor. It does matter. If you for some reason wanted a general earlier, then Bors, Varth or Wendy were your only options. But who even uses generals? And there goes Douglas almost. He will die, although I didn't necessarily try to get him killed. Bors will get a nice dodge there. It doesn't really matter to me if Douglas dies. I think he even dies to like the arrows at the very end. I really don't care. I was never going to use him anyway, of course, because he's not on the list. Wolt will take a nice little arrow chunk right there. Those are so annoying. And look at this carnage. They just go right through the stairs. Look at all these units taking 10 damage right now. It's absolutely insane. Look at that. I would say that's beautiful, but it's just kind of annoying. It's just kind of irritating, to be completely honest with you. Just takes up too much time, you know? Anyway. So at this point, a lot of my hit soaking units have been damaged to the point where they can't take any more hits. Especially because there's two guys now. I mean, there's only one on the right hand side, but there's 2 long range tomes on the left, and that's deadly. I think a combination hit from either of them could decimate basically anyone on the team, and I just have to rely on the fact that they're going to target different units, and I also have to rely on the fact that some of my units will be able to dodge, because otherwise there's no way that I'd be able to heal up the damage output with only one healer. Lilina is basically already has her hands full with Lance and Marcus, healing them every turn. She doesn't have time to heal anybody else until all these guys are dealt with. Speaking of healing, these purge bishops really don't make killing these guys easy for me. Some of these enemies will retreat if you get their health low enough, and then the physic will bring them basically to full. So yeah, that guy did quite a bit of damage to Lilina. This could have killed. It didn't, luckily though. I was sweating bullets, but I think that was the last of the long range tomes. Or they have one more each left, and I can just have someone hold Lilina at the end of this turn so that she doesn't die to any of these long range tomes. And once these guys have expended their bolting, so yeah, they have 1 hit left each. After that, this basically becomes a standard choke point simulator. Of course, the arrows are still a factor, so I have to make sure my weaker units are not in range of the arrows. Unfortunately, as I've already mentioned and we've already seen, the staircases are in range of the arrows. But as long as I keep Marcus and Lance above 10 HP, which ideally they will be, I think we'll be fine. And everyone else gets to basically be dead weight. I mean, Garret, Douglas, Ward and Bors did their job. They took some bolting hits. That's really all I can ask of them. But units like Roy, Wolt, actually that's about it. That's about everyone else. They really don't get to do much. Rutger will have his time to shine later, and Milady was incredibly valuable as a rescue dropper considering my 2 other mounted units are incredibly occupied. We're really seeing the difference in the abilities between Marcus and Lance here. If you take a look on the left side, it's basically devoid of enemies at this point. There's a few more left. If you look on the right, it's chock of lock, completely full, and it just demonstrates the difference in capabilities between our paladins at this point. Lance is so much faster, and that helps him out getting doubles, and he's stronger as well. I think by the end of this map he ends up 3 points stronger than Marcus is. So yeah, I mean obviously Marcus is putting in work, and this chapter would have been close to impossible without him. But you really get to see just how much he's fallen off by this point of the game. Granted, we're approaching late game at this point, chapter 16x. Yeah, there's not too many chapters left in the game, so we're approaching late game. It would make sense for your Jagan, your very first promoted unit, very first pre-promote, to be falling off by this point. In fact, I'm amazed that he's held on as long as he has. He's really done well to be this useful this far into the game. Granted, I've given him a stat booster or 2 here and there, but even so. Speaking of stat boosters, I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but I did give Marcus the Draco shield at the start of this chapter. Very likely would have been much more difficult without it, considering how much fire Marcus is taking every turn here. I would hesitate to say that this chapter would be impossible without giving it to Marcus, but I'm almost certain that it helped a lot and really took some of the pressure off. Especially since, as I just finished mentioning, he's going to take a lot more hits because he doesn't double. So the enemies have way more chances to hit him. Now that the bolting tomes are gone, I can start to move my guys up a little bit. The middle row is, as you might have guessed already, safe from the arrows, which is why there's a bunch of them there. Other than that, the very far right and very far left and the space next to that are also safe spots, right where my units are. Like, if you look where Boars and Garret are right now, those spaces and then right next to them are safe from arrows as well, but everywhere else is not safe, at least considering where my units are right now. Cheeky little arrow hit on that mage right there. This guy has a Horse Slayer, which is really scary. It would almost one-hit KO Lance from this point, but luckily I have Garret here, and Garret, because he's not Ward, can actually double. I don't think Ward would have been able to double that guy, but I didn't check, and I didn't need to. And Garret is actually fast enough to not get doubled by the Bishop either. Like any of these mages, they don't double him, which is great. He will obviously take a lot of damage, but he doesn't get doubled, which is absolutely fantastic. He is quite low, and I noticed this a bit too late, but I do work around it, and he will live, of course, otherwise you wouldn't be seeing this. Unfortunately for me, he'll get a crit there. That would have actually been slightly dicey if he didn't get a crit. He would have been in range of at least one of the mages, but because he got a crit, I can move Lance ahead and completely protect Garret from harm. And Lance being Lance at full health, he's basically immortal as of where he is right now. He can't die this turn, especially with no long range tomes. And Marcus being at full health is also effectively immortal right now. So this turn is safe. I'm going to use Milady I'm thinking about chipping a little bit with Milady. I used to, in previous runs, chip a lot more. I'd have Milady behind Marcus and Wolt behind Lance and chip like that, but those two would just take long-range tomes and then they'd be in the way, and Lilina wouldn't be able to heal Lance or Marcus, and then they'd be damaged themselves and they wouldn't be able to get out of range of the long-range tomes, and it was just a disaster. So at the end of the day I decided, look, I only need Lance and Marcus. Everyone else is additional and not necessary. I'm going to have them hide until all the long range tomes are gone, and we'll just have those two paladins, and then like Lilina and her entourage helping her heal. Sick crit there from Lance, and as you can tell, this part of the map is almost over. Obviously there's a lot left on Marcus's side because he kills very, very slowly. And that paladin is also very, very scary. He does a lot of damage. He doesn't have too much accuracy, so Marcus is somewhat safe, but he definitely does a lot of damage when he does hit. We've probably seen it already at this point, but I wasn't paying attention enough to comment on it. And you see here just how useful everyone else is. This map is basically just Lance and Marcus, the game, featuring Rutger at the very end. There's really just not much for anyone else to do. If I wanted to be more ballsy, I could try to move up, but you gotta understand, I've attempted this map like, as I said, probably about 5 times at this point. Really not interested in attempting it anymore, so I'm definitely playing a bit more cautiously. This was a little bit ballsy. Wolt definitely might not have gotten that kill, but he's gonna get a level out of it. HP, strength, luck. Pretty good. He got strength. Very impressive. Well done, Wolt. Proud of you, buddy. And that lets Marcus get this kill on this archer, which means that he's pretty safe by the end of this round. He can get hit by two mages, but Marcus actually has some decent resistance, so he's pretty okay. Something I've had to keep track of these last, like, I don't know, 10 turns or whatever, is that Lilina is currently on 7 HP, meaning that if I accidentally leave her in range of one of the arrows, she can die. She can die to one of the arrows just like Ward did, just like I've had other units do before. And I really did not want that to happen at this point. It takes so long gameplay wise to get to this point. I've been playing pretty quickly, and we're already at 25 minutes into the video. And if we're talking non-sped up, non-footage cut, at this point I've probably been playing for easily half an hour, probably close to 40 minutes. And we're not even done yet. So, to die at this point, speaking of dying at this point, look where I left Douglas this turn. I'm thinking, oh yeah, he's low, but that's fine, he won't get hit. Right? Right? Wink wink, ha ha ha, laugh with me. Also, yeah, thanks Physic, dude. Thanks for healing that guy at 1 HP. That was... really appreciate that, you know. And thanks for Marcus for not hitting that, not killing that guy. Just a whole bunch of stuff not going my way. And to put the cherry on the cake, bye-bye Douglas. Yeah, good final words, my dude. Yeah, we don't care about Douglas. He's done his job. He brought us to this chapter, and now he can die. And his death won't be in vain. And I won't mourn for him because lol generals. Gonna get a level up for Marcus here. HP, strength, speed. That's like the perfect level up. That is an absolute godly level up for Marcus. That's so incredible that I don't even know how to describe it properly. And that ensures that he'll be able to compete for quite a while longer at this point. Very, very happy with that level up. That's the kind of level up you get right after someone dies. I guess the game thought that I might have to reset for Douglas and was like, oh, he has to reset, now give him a good level up. But then once it realized that I'm not resetting, Lance got that, which is, you know, very impressive. Lance is already so good. I can't complain about any level up that Lance gets. He's already so good that he doesn't need any other level ups. He's not Percival, but he's far from in need of level ups. And now the tables have turned a little bit. Now Marcus's side of the map is basically clear and Lance has a bunch of enemies on his side. That's because Lance went ahead and pulled a few of them. And he's the best one for it. Of course, this guy's going to be a bitch and run away with like only 10 health missing. You must be really proud of yourself, my guy. I guess there must be like just a giant mountain of bodies surrounding Lance at this point though, so it's understandable. They have killed like what? I don't know, 20 people each maybe at this point, I'm guessing. So yeah, not terribly surprising that that guy would try to run, but it's not going to save him. It's not going to save him. Just going to heal him up before he goes after the rest of those guys. That sniper's really annoying because not only is he bulky because of the promotion, but he's got a longbow, meaning that his range is kind of difficult to gauge, and also he can hit me at 3 range, obviously, which is just annoying in and of itself. I can't retaliate. I probably should have brought the longbow on Wolt, but I really don't know what good it would have done. Wolt really didn't do much this chapter. And another thing I was considering bringing was the bolting tome on Lilina. If there were any turns where I didn't have to heal, it could have been a good idea to use the bolting on some of the far back enemies and try to take them down. But in the end it didn't end up being necessary, and so here we are. I didn't end up having to use it, although I think it could have helped me a little bit. I don't know. I mean, the map's over at this point. All of this is just hindsight talking. Marcus will not have any trouble with this guy. That's the Silver Lance guy, I think. But yeah, his hit rate is atrocious, and Marcus has an Iron Axe, so he'll be just fine. The Bishops are going to make this take a little bit longer because they each have a physics staff. But now that that last cav is gone, they're basically free. Rutger can kill them really easily. And Garret can get rid of that guy. Garret's completely fine, no one else is in range, and he has more than 10 health, so he can't die to the arrows. Trading 2 range to Lance here, just because I want him to retaliate, obviously. Help me get rid of these guys just a little bit quicker. The victory music is playing, but this map isn't over yet. There's just a little bit more to go. But we are almost there. So yeah, we're gonna have Rutger take care of these guys. Rutger's at full health, so he's completely fine to do this. It does get a little bit dicey for him at the very end here, If he takes an arrow and also gets hit, then he might be in dire straits, but can you blame me for being a little bit twitchy at this point in the map and just wanting to go fast? I could have even sent Milady up there at this point, now I think about it, but then again Lilina could have died if I did that, so probably for the best that I didn't do that and instead chose to play safely. One man left between us and the boss. But actually, there's a little bit more. So, if you remember, I mentioned that the boss has a berserk staff that covers basically the whole map. So now, the second part of our plan to finish this map is we're going to have Boars, that's right, Boars, the man who is almost useless 90% of the time, we're going to have him purposefully get hit by the berserk staff. And because he's a slow general who didn't get boots because I got unlucky, he won't be able to get back to anybody to hurt us. So we're essentially just going to have him go as far into the map as I want. He will turn around to try to kill us because we're closer. The weakest unit in the map is closer, so he'll target one of ours, probably Lilina. And then he will turn back. So if you saw there, the staff range on that guy is inaccurate. It's actually 6... You have 6 safe spaces, so if you look at the range, it's actually only 6 further in than that. So you do actually have some wiggle room, but obviously the closer you get to him, the more you're in his range, so you wouldn't be able to avoid it entirely, and that's why I have to burn it here. So now that Boars is being berserked, he's going to get real mad, he's going to turn his fat stubby legs around, and he's going to try to kill one of our units, but of course because he's fat, he's not going to reach us, we can just juke him, and then when that wears off in like 2 turns, we'll just send him right back and do that 2 more times. So yeah, very engaging gameplay we're seeing here, playing run away from the fatty, who really can't do anything about us, and then we send him back, you know, just repeat the process, do that 2 more times. And then the map is almost over. Oh my god, this map sucked. This map absolutely sucked. I hate it. I hate this map. I hate the people who designed this map. I never want to play it again. I never want to hear it again. I never want to see it again. I never want to see this boss's fat mug anywhere else ever again. I hate him. I hate long-range tomes. I hate long-range staves. I hate promoted enemies. I hate choke points. I hate gimmicks. I hate Douglas. And I hate FE6. Yeah, the map's not over, so I would usually just end the video after a rant like that, but the map's not over, so I can't do that. Sorry, I'm just venting a little bit. We're almost done here. Boars actually gets hit by an arrow there, but he can take like 4 of those, I think. 3 maybe. His HP is surprisingly low. Again, after promotion I would expect it to be significantly higher, but no. I guess his growths are not very high in general though, so I'm quite lucky to have what I have even now. And granted, look, his defense is really good. It is really good. Too bad his HP doesn't back that up. So here we go. I just cut ahead to the boss because it was just walking. There was nothing to see here. And Rutger will finally get his time in the limelight. I'm going to actually turn animations on because I really just wanted to see this boss get his shit kicked in by Rutger. I just really wanted to see that. I don't know, sue me. This guy's given me so much trouble this entire map, I just wanted to see him die really painfully. Root could be able to live at even 2 of these, so it's fine that he got hit there. Unfortunately, he's not going to cleanly 1 round, he's going to miss that hit. But that's fine, that's fine. We're not in any danger here. This boss has nowhere to run, he doesn't move, obviously, because he has a throne. And why would you? Gonna heal Rutger all the way back up. Rutger actually looks really good in his promoted Swordmaster form. I really do like the animations in these games, it's just that with maps this long, look, playing with animations would probably make me actually insane. It would drive me to madness. Unfortunately I can't one-hit KO him with an iron sword, so I'm going to have to use something else, because I don't trust the hit rates. So I decided to just go with the silver sword, because why not? 59%, it's not that bad. He's gonna dodge the first one, I'm gonna dodge the second hit, and then we're gonna stab this fat fuck right through his heart. Ha 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 ha, laughing at us all the way to the grave. Fuck that guy. Level up for Rutger. Death. Nice. Alright, that's the map. Thanks for watching. I hate this map. Bye-bye.